Hey there. Tonight, we drift where sunlight fades and mystery begins. You're about to sink slowly, peacefully into the deep. The surface above ripples like glass, and each gentle push downward steals another shade of blue, until the world becomes indigo, then black. You can almost feel the weight of miles of water pressing softly around you, as if the ocean itself is tucking you in. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here, and I'd love to know. Where are you listening from tonight, and what time is it where you are? Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. Let's ease into tonight's journey together. You drift downward, weightless. The ocean's surface glows faintly far above a thin film of silver, rippling like a memory. Down here, there are no crashing waves or gulls calling, only the quiet hiss of bubbles as they spiral toward the fading stars above. The deeper you go, the slower everything feels. Even your thoughts begin to stretch out like long, lazy currents. It's strange how comforting this silence is. At about 200 meters deep, you enter what scientists call the dysphotic zone, the twilight zone of the sea. Sunlight still fights to reach you, but it's losing badly. Reds disappear first. They fade into muted grays, then vanish. Yellows go next. By the time you're surrounded in blue and violet, you realize that the ocean is not empty. It's just good at keeping secrets. Your breathing sinks with a rhythm of unseen waves. The water temperature drops cool and steady like the calm breath of an ancient creature. The pressure rises to 1 atmosphere every 10 meters, though your body hardly notices. But every piece of equipment humans have ever sent down here knows it well. Metal groans, plastic buckles. The deep is not unkind, but it demands respect. You pass small fish that blink away at your light. One looks like a translucent ribbon. Another, shaped like a coin, folds itself into darkness before you can blink. A jellyfish pulses nearby its body, glowing faintly, just enough to say, "I'm here," before it vanishes again. Down here, movement is poetry. Slow, deliberate, never wasted. Because at these depths, food is scarce and energy is precious. Every flick of a fin is an investment. Somewhere far below, a faint blue glimmer flashes a reminder that even here, life is adapted to dance with the dark. Scientists estimate that about 80% of Earth's species remain undiscovered, most of them living beneath this veil. That means that for every glowing fish, we know there could be 10 more we've never seen, each one carrying its own story of survival. You hover imagining what it would be like to live here permanently, to have skin that doesn't wrinkle, eyes that drink in the faintest light, lungs that no longer need air. You'd glide through eternity, part of the quiet parade of shadows, drifting between worlds. A few modern submarines have reached these depths, carrying curious minds with cameras and sensors. They found creatures so strange that scientists still argue whether they belong to any known family. Some even question if deep-sea species could help us understand the origins of life itself, tiny clues preserved in an eternal cold that's been untouched since the planet was young. It's funny humans dream of space, yet most of our own world remains uncharted beneath the waves. We've mapped Mars better than our own seafloor. You wonder if the reason is fear or humility. As you continue to descend, you realize how the deep demands surrender. Your heartbeat slows and each sound fades, till you can only hear your own pulse echoing in your head. It's steady, almost hypnotic. If peace had a sound, it might be this. You picture the last sunlight above, now just a memory trembling on the surface. It's as if you've left time itself behind. Down here, a second feels longer, stretched thin by silence and pressure. Even the smallest flicker of movement, a drifting feather of plankton, a bubble twisting upward, feels monumental. And yet, for all this stillness, the ocean is alive, with hidden motion. Entire rivers of water slide past each other in invisible layers, some warm and light, others cold and heavy. They carry oxygen, nutrients, and whispers from faraway lands. These underwater highways shape weather, regulate climate, and keep Earth breathing quietly, reliably, even as you drift among them unaware. A faint vibration trembles through the water. It could be a distant whale song, deep and mournful. Or perhaps it's tectonic, a slow shifting of the seabed as the planet exhales. You'll never know for sure, but somehow that uncertainty feels right. Not everything is meant to be understood before you sleep. As your eyes adjust, the black around you begins to reveal shapes, the faint silhouettes of tiny drifters, plankton, glowing like a galaxy suspended in motionless water. You pass through them gently, your presence barely disturbing their silent constellations. It's easy to imagine that this is what floating through outer space might feel like, except warmer, quieter, more alive. At this depth, there's no rush. The ocean has no concept of hurry. It's been like this for billions of years, deep, patient, eternal. It doesn't need your understanding. It only asks that you listen. So you keep descending. The last flickers of sunlight vanish above you completely now. The world turns from dim blue to total darkness. You've officially entered the midnight zone, home of the strangest life forms on Earth. The kind that laugh at rules, that glow without light, and that thrive where everything else would die. And as the dark folds around you like velvet, you realize something: the deep isn't empty. It's just waiting for you to see differently, to let go of fear, of control of the surface. Down here, even silence hums. You drift deeper, ready for whatever luminous secret waits below. You keep sinking. The light above is gone now, replaced by a vast liquid night. The ocean around you hums softly, an ancient lullaby carried through water dense with secrets. You've entered the mesopelagic, the twilight zone of the sea, where light bends, fades, and finally gives up. Here, life makes its own glow. A faint flicker passes your left, then another. Soon you're surrounded by tiny pulses of green and blue, each one a creature's quiet declaration of existence. This is bioluminescence, nature's living neon. Shrimp, jellyfish, squid, and even fish wield this power like artists painting on darkness. Some use it to attract mates, others to lure prey, and a few clever ones to vanish completely. You notice one small fish flickering rhythmically, its body like a tiny Morse code machine. Its light organs, photophores, line the belly and tail, forming a pattern scientists call counter-illumination. When predators look up, they see not a silhouette, but a patch of faint, glowing camouflage blending perfectly with the dim light above. It's an underwater invisibility cloak. Harry Potter would be jealous. A swarm of lanternfish rises beneath you, shimmering faintly, as if the sea floor itself decided to sparkle. Billions of them ascend every night, migrating upward to feed, then sink back before dawn. This nightly commute is the largest migration of life on the planet, yet few humans ever witness it. The entire ocean breathes with their rhythm. You pass a comb jelly that looks like a floating chandelier. Its rows of cilia beat in perfect harmony, refracting faint rainbow light. Scientists still argue whether its glow comes from bioluminescence or from pure physics, tiny prisms bending any stray light that remains. Either way, it's mesmerizing. You feel like clapping, but your hands are metaphorical tonight. A deep-sea dragonfish glides into view, its long body ribboned with scarlet. It opens its mouth lined with teeth so thin and clear they're almost invisible. It flashes a light beneath its eye, and you realize this fish carries its own flashlight. Not for reading bedtime stories, but for hunting. It shines the beam downward, illuminating unsuspecting prey from below, like an underwater sniper with night vision goggles. Scientists have identified over 700 species capable of bioluminescence, but the true number may be far higher. And here's the twist: they don't all glow the same way. The chemical recipe for light varies wildly. Some use luciferin, others use symbiotic bacteria, and a few cheat entirely by eating glowing prey and borrowing their light. It's like nature's version of plagiarism, but shinier. As you float deeper, you see sudden flashes, bursts of blue spiraling upward like fireworks from another world. Maybe it's a startled squid releasing a luminous ink cloud. Or maybe a school of small fish scattering from an unseen predator. Down here, light means life and danger. The colors are hypnotic. Your mind drifts. Each flicker seems to breathe pulse and whisper stories from eons past. These creatures have existed for millions of years, evolving quietly while civilizations rose and fell above. You try to imagine what the first human explorers felt when they saw this glow for the first time. Some 19th century sailors described seas that burned like molten stars. Of course, they also thought giant krakens waited beneath their ships, so their accuracy is debatable. Still, their awe was real. The deeper you go, the stranger the shapes become. A hatchetfish glides by silver and razor thin. Its sides shimmer with mirrored scales that reflect almost perfectly, making it disappear from view like a living mirror. Then comes a jellyfish that looks like a glass crown, its tendrils trailing hundreds of feet below. One bump from you and it vanishes. Lights off, stealth mode engaged. Scientists still argue whether all this light evolved from a single ancient ancestor or popped up independently dozens of times. The debate continues, fueled by every new glowing creature caught on camera. If evolution is a cosmic improvisation, then the deep sea is its jazz club, dark, moody, and full of surprises. You pass what looks like a ghostly orb, a siphonophore, a colonial organism made up of hundreds of tiny zooids acting as one. It's technically many creatures sharing a single mission float glow feed. Some siphonophores stretch longer than blue whales. You wonder if they even know they're not alone, or if they dream of being one. The water grows cooler, thicker. Above you, the surface is now a distant myth. Below, more lights flicker like city traffic viewed from miles away. You think of how human cities mimic this same pattern, millions of glowing lives each, with a purpose all connected yet unaware of the bigger design. Maybe we're not so different from lanternfish after all. A curious fact: most deep-sea fish can't see red. There's simply no red light left down here. So some predators, like the stoplight, loose jaw glow faintly red to illuminate prey without being seen. It's the underwater equivalent of using night vision goggles in a heist movie. You almost expect it to hum the Mission Impossible theme as it strikes. And yet, amid all this eerie brilliance, it feels peaceful. The deep sea is not a battlefield. It's a ballet. Every glow, every flicker perfectly timed. You drift between curtains of living light, feeling your own mind soften to match their rhythm. Then suddenly the lights fade. The glow retreats into the distance like stars dimming at dawn. You're descending beyond the twilight zone now into the true midnight depths. The last pulse of blue fades behind you, and you realize that even here, surrounded by darkness, you're not alone. The sea has simply changed language's light to vibration, glow, to whisper. You take one last look upward. Somewhere far above, the faintest shimmer marks the boundary of everything familiar. Down here, you're officially a guest in the oldest, strangest home on Earth. And just as your body adjusts to the eternal night, something glows faintly below, a promise of new mysteries waiting to light the dark once more. You're gliding now, neither rising nor falling, just floating in the quiet. The last flicker of blue is gone, replaced by something vast and infinite. This is the abyssal plain, the ocean's great desert stretching for thousands of miles in every direction. No coral, no sunlight, no color, only fine sediment drifting like slow snow. You'd think nothing could live here, but you'd be wrong. The first shape that moves is almost invisible, a sea cucumber, its gelatinous body undulating lazily over the sea floor. It looks like a misplaced sausage trying its best to find meaning in life. Nearby, a brittle star lifts its spindly arms, feeling for the faintest vibrations, maybe a scrap of food, maybe just curiosity. Every movement here happens in slow motion. Because when meals fall from the sky once a month, you learn to conserve your energy. Scientists call it marine snow, a poetic name for what's basically ocean dandruff. Tiny bits of dead plankton, fish scales, and, yes, poop falling endlessly from above. Each flake glitters faintly as it drifts down, feeding this silent kingdom. You watch it descend, thinking how every snowflake is a memory from the surface, a reminder that even the deepest dark depends on the light above. You drift lower until your fins brush the seabed. The silt rises like smoke, hanging in slow spirals before settling again. Every footprint you leave will last for decades. There's no current strong enough here to erase the past. A Dumbo octopus flaps its ear-like fins beside you. It's smaller than you expect, delicate, pinkish, and unbothered by your presence. Its webbed arms curl gracefully as it floats upward like a balloon in slow motion. These creatures live their entire lives at depths where pressure could crush steel, yet they move with the gentleness of a dream. Everywhere you look, life has adapted to impossible odds. Deep sea worms with feathery plumes collect nutrients from chemical traces. Tiny amphipods crawl across the mud, scavenging what the sea forgets. Even bacteria thrive down here, forming invisible films that coat rocks and bones alike. Ah yes, bones. You spot one ahead, a whale fall. Once a massive creature that ruled the ocean's surface, it now lies still, its skeleton stripped clean by years of hungry mouths. But even in death, it feeds a city. Tube worms cluster around the ribs, like apartment dwellers, each one tapping into chemical energy released as the bones decay. Scientists have documented over 400 species found nowhere else on Earth that rely solely on whale falls. Life recycling life, it's the most honest economy there is. You hover over the bones, imagining what stories they'd tell if they could. Maybe this whale once sang across oceans, maybe its call is still echoing somewhere in the distance. Down here, echoes never really fade. They just change shape. Suddenly, the floor ahead rises slightly, forming small mounds. They're not natural. These are mud volcanoes, places where methane and minerals seep up from beneath. They look dull at first glance, but around them, gardens of white crabs, worms, and clams thriving in what seems like nothingness. They survive using chemosynthesis, drawing energy from chemicals rather than sunlight. It's as if life found a loophole in the laws of nature. You remember the scientist's phrase, life finds a way. Down here, it doesn't just find a way, it writes its own rule book. A deep-sea starfish creeps past its 5 arms, glinting faintly with bioluminescent spots. It's moving toward a carcass, guided by chemical whispers in the current. To us, that movement feels glacial, but to it, it's a sprint. Time doesn't move at the same speed in the abyss. Down here, patience isn't a virtue, it's survival. There's something oddly peaceful about this stillness. The abyssal plane isn't dead. It's simply content. It doesn't chase or rush. It exists quietly, faithfully, and has done so for millions of years. You begin to envy it a little. A shrimp scuttles past nearly transparent, carrying eggs that shimmer faintly. The light from its body is so dim you'd miss it if you blinked. You wonder, does she know she's glowing, or is that just the ocean's way of showing pride in her persistence? Scientists once believed these plains were barren. But with every new submersible dive, they discover hidden oases. Cold seeps, hydrothermal vents, microbial mats, each bursting with unexpected life. Some researchers even call this region Earth's quiet engine, because the carbon that falls here eventually gets locked into sediment, shaping the planet's climate for eons. You can't help but smile at that thought. While humanity debates climate change on the surface, the ocean floor just quietly does its job century after century. No speeches, no panic, just purpose. Still, not everything down here is known. Sometimes cameras catch strange imprints, circular patterns, geometric ridges etched into the mud. Scientists argue whether they're made by mating fish, burrowing creatures, or perhaps something entirely unknown. The truth remains a mystery, and maybe it should stay that way. Every good bedtime story needs a few unanswered questions. You float past a ridge of manganese nodules, metal-rich stones that grow over millions of years, atom by atom, like Earth's slowest sculpture project. Each one could fit in your palm, yet they're older than civilization. Mining companies dream of harvesting them someday, but biologists plead for patience. This place, fragile as it is, might hold secrets about the origins of life itself. You pause for a moment, taking in the vastness. There are no landmarks here, no sense of direction. Just the endless plain, stretching beyond imagination. It's humbling, comforting, even to realize that you could drift for hours and never hit a wall. The deep doesn't trap you, it cradles you. Somewhere in the distance, a low rumble trembles through the sediment. Perhaps it's a submarine volcano far away, or a tectonic sigh from the planet's restless crust. The vibration fades, leaving only silence again, a silence so deep it feels alive. You close your eyes for a moment, breathing slowly. The abyssal plain hums beneath you, patient and timeless. And as you drift onward, the last particles of marine snow swirl gently past your face like falling stars. Each one a promise that even in the loneliest corners of the earth, life is still dreaming. Something stirs in the black. You sense it before you see it, a pulse in the water slow and massive. Then from the darkness, a shadow takes form. It's vast, deliberate, alive. You've entered the realm of the giants below. The first you meet is a deep-sea shark, 6 gills, smooth skin, and eyes the color of cold glass. It moves like a ghost, gliding without effort, its tail barely flicking. This species has changed little in 200 million years. It's older than dinosaurs, older than mountains, a survivor of time itself. Scientists call it Hexanchus griseus, the blunt-nosed six-gill shark. You might call it patience incarnate. It drifts past you, indifferent. You're too small, too loud, too temporary to matter here. And that's oddly comforting. Something larger approaches, a flash of white muscle, a spiraling motion. Then suddenly it's there, a colossal squid, easily 10 meters long. Its eye round, pale, and unblinking, is the size of a dinner plate. The biggest eye in the animal kingdom. It's said these eyes can detect the faint shimmer of whales hundreds of meters away, or the shadow of prey moving in the dark. You watch as it flexes a tentacle armed with swiveling hooks. Hooks, not suckers. Imagine being so intimidating that nature gave you rotating knives for hands. Yet despite the horror movie are some, it doesn't attack. It simply drifts arms, coiling like ribbons in a current. Down here, violence wastes energy. Patience wins every time. Scientists still argue whether the colossal squid or the giant squid holds the title of largest invertebrate. The debate remains unresolved, partly because the deep refuses to give up complete specimens. Most are discovered by accident, dead, floating to the surface like postcards from another world. You float beside one now, both of you suspended in eternal night. Its chromatophores shimmer faintly, changing color in slow waves, amber to violet to black. It's communicating perhaps, or dreaming. Scientists once theorized squids use those color shifts to speak, flashing silent messages across the dark. Love letters in light. Above you a shape glides, a sperm whale miles below its usual range. Its body moves with impossible grace for something so huge. You can feel the low rumble of its clicks vibrating through the water, sonar pulses so powerful they can stun prey. It's hunting. The squid you saw might not be alone. This is the ancient duel, the eternal war between Leviathan and Kraken. You hold still, barely daring to breathe. The whale dives deeper, following invisible echoes. The squid retreats, disappearing into ink-black water. For a moment, the sea feels charged electric with anticipation. Then, nothing. Just darkness again. The battle continues, unseen somewhere beyond your reach. You drift through this ancient stage surrounded by legends that once terrified sailors. The deep sea giant is more than a monster. It's a symbol of survival. No sunlight, crushing pressure, scarce food, yet these creatures thrive. Their metabolisms are slow, their movements deliberate. They've adapted to eternity. Far below you spot another shadow, a massive sluggish form half buried in silt. At first, you think it's a rock until one fin shifts slightly. A Greenland shark, possibly 4 or 5 centuries old. Imagine living that long, outlasting empires, earthquakes, and entire human eras. Its flesh carries traces of urea and trimethylamine oxide, keeping it buoyant and resistant to freezing. Ironically, those same chemicals make it smell like, well, rotten cheese. You can't win them all. Scientists believe these sharks can live up to 500 years, making them the longest-lived vertebrates on Earth. They mature so slowly that a 150-year-old Greenland shark is still basically a teenager. You smile at that thought, teenagers with wrinkles and world weariness. You glide past it carefully. Its eyes are milky, possibly blind, clouded by parasitic copepods clinging like tiny chandeliers. Yet even in its blindness, it navigates flawlessly. Maybe when you've lived that long, sight becomes optional. There's a strange reverence here, like wandering through a cathedral of evolution. Every creature is ancient, refined by eons of trial. The deep has no room for waste or vanity. Every shape, every motion, every adaptation is pure necessity beauty, born from restraint. A shadow passes again, a slender elegant, moving in slow arcs. It's a giant oarfish, the longest bony fish on Earth. 15 meters of metallic silver with a crimson crest fluttering along its back. For centuries, sightings of these rare creatures sparked legends of sea serpents. In truth, they're shy, fragile, and often die when they rise too high. The surface to them is poison. You trail it for a while, mesmerized by how it moves like a flag waving underwater, rippling in perfect rhythm. Scientists still don't fully understand how oarfish survive at such depths with such delicate bodies. Some think they drift more than swim, surrendering to the currents. There's a quiet wisdom in that, letting go instead of fighting the sea. A glimmer to your right draws your gaze, a jellyfish nearly 3 meters wide, its bell glowing like molten amber. It's called Stygiomedusa gigantea, a name that sounds like a spell, and its arms stretch like slow lightning. Only a handful have ever been filmed alive. Its movements are hypnotic, each pulse like a sigh. You realize, as you watch it drift, that these giants are not freaks. They're archivists, living fossils preserving the deep's memory. The colossal squid remembers a time before humans. The Greenland shark remembers before light bulbs. The oarfish remembers before cities. And they keep remembering patiently, quietly, as the centuries roll by above. Scientists still debate how such massive creatures survive in such nutrient-poor waters. Some think they slow their hearts to one beat every few seconds. Others propose they rely on bursts of opportunity, a whale carcass here, a lucky school of fish there. But maybe the truth is simpler. They've learned to live within their means. The deep doesn't reward greed. You drift among them feeling small in the best possible way. The kind of small that comes with perspective, not fear. The ocean has always been a mirror for the human soul, calm on the surface, chaotic beneath. And here, among these titans, your own chaos fades. The water feels heavier now, but not oppressive. More like the weight of wisdom settling gently on your shoulders. The giants move on, fading into the dark. Their trails shimmer faintly before dissolving, leaving only silence. For a while, you just float, letting their enormity wash over you. Somewhere in that stillness, you realize the deep isn't terrifying at all. It's humbling, it's patient, it's kind to those who listen. The dark begins to shimmer again, not from creatures this time, but from the earth itself. You feel a faint tremor beneath your feet, and suddenly the water ahead glows with an eerie silver haze. You've arrived at one of the deep sea's strangest miracles, the hydrothermal vents, also known as the black smokers. At first, they look like chimneys built by giants, towering columns rising from cracks in the ocean floor, spewing clouds of superheated fluid into the freezing abyss. The contrast is unreal: liquid at 400 C, erupting into water near 2 C, yet somehow not boiling thanks to the immense pressure that keeps everything in check. If physics had a playground, it would be here. You glide closer. The plume looks like smoke, but it's actually mineral particles, iron, copper, sulfur, rising from molten rock below. Each plume twists and curls like a ghost exhaling. The ground around you is carpeted with white, red, and orange patches, entire colonies of tube worms, mussels, and shrimp. Their world runs not on sunlight, but on chemistry. This is the birthplace of chemosynthesis, a process so alien it once defied logic. Instead of plants using sunlight to create energy, bacteria here use hydrogen sulfide, yes, the same stuff that smells like rotten eggs, to fuel entire ecosystems. The discovery shocked biologists in 1977. Until then, every food chain on Earth was thought to depend on sunlight. These vents rewrote the script of life itself. You watch a white crab scuttle along a pipe-like worm, stealing scraps from bacterial mats. Tiny shrimp cluster around the hottest vent openings, dancing in shimmering waves of heat. They can survive temperatures that would cook most other creatures instantly. Their secret A layer of reflective scales that scatter heat, plus symbiotic bacteria that act like living armor. The tube worms are even more astonishing. They have no mouths, no stomachs, no digestive tracts. Inside their bodies live dense colonies of bacteria that convert toxic chemicals into sugar, feeding the worms directly. It's a literal partnership between life and poison, and it works beautifully. You can't help but laugh softly into the water. Humans spend billions searching for life on other planets, but right here, under miles of pressure and darkness, life thrives without a single ray of sunlight. Scientists still argue whether hydrothermal vents could be where life began, tiny cells forming in these mineral-rich soups billions of years ago. If that's true, then every breath you take might trace its lineage back to this dark, hot place. A gentle current pushes warm water across your hands. It's oddly comforting, like standing near a campfire after a long night. The vents hiss and bubble, sounding like 1,000 kettles boiling in harmony. You imagine them whispering secrets of the Earth's molten heart. The terrain is surreal black rock gleaming with metallic dust, like the surface of some alien moon. In fact, scientists compare these vents to what might exist on Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's moon Enceladus. Both worlds have oceans beneath their icy crusts and possibly hydrothermal systems too. So studying these vents isn't just exploring Earth. It's a rehearsal for meeting aliens. Nearby, you spot a new vent forming. It's small, barely a meter tall, spitting cloudy water into the black. Around it, life is already gathering microbes first, then worms, then crabs. It's as if creation itself happens on fast forward down here. The deep wastes no time turning desolation into community. Not all vents are black. Some release lighter minerals, forming white smokers that shimmer like snowstorms in the dark. They're cooler, relatively speaking, and their mineral mix builds pale towers instead of black ones. The most famous system, called Lost City, sits atop an underwater mountain in the Atlantic. Its towers reach 60 meters high, glowing ghostly blue in submersible lights. If hydrothermal vents are dragons, Lost City is their cathedral. You hover there for a while, entranced. Tiny bubbles rise around you, refracting faint light from the vent's glow. You realize that in this realm of extremes, heat, pressure, darkness, life doesn't just adapt. It celebrates. A moment of humor drifts through your mind. Somewhere a surface-dwelling crab might complain about cold ocean water at 10°C, while its cousin down here basks in volcanic vents at 400°C. Family reunions must be awkward. Then you notice something delicate floating by. A small gelatinous creature, maybe a larval worm or planktonic jelly. It's glowing faintly gold, catching stray minerals as it passes. It doesn't know it's drifting through one of the most hostile places on Earth. To it, this is simply home. You think about how fragile this balance is. A vent cools and the colony dies. Another erupts and new life begins. The cycle continues endlessly, a rhythm as old as the planet itself. It's creation and destruction on repeat. But down here, that's just another word for harmony. Scientists studying these vents often come back describing them like sacred places. One marine biologist once said, "It's like walking into Genesis." And truly, it feels that way. Each vent breathes like a heartbeat. The glowing plumes rise, curl, and fade like incense, drifting in a dark temple. You take one last look around the shimmering pillars, the writhing worms, the shimmering mineral flakes that glint like falling stars. You realize that the vents are not just geological features. They're proof that life doesn't wait for permission, it simply exists wherever it can. As you begin to drift away, the warmth fades. The water cools again, wrapping you in its calm embrace. The hissing behind you becomes a whisper, then silence. You leave the hydrothermal fields behind, carrying their heat like a memory. And somewhere deep inside, a comforting thought settles in. Maybe, just maybe, the universe is full of places like this, dark, silent, and quietly alive. The water cools as you leave the warmth of the vents behind. The world grows still again, and the only light now comes from the faint shimmer of your passing. Soon you begin to see something strange, solid shapes rising from the seafloor, twisted and rough, not rock, not coral. You move closer. They're trees. Massive trunks half buried in silt, their branches coated in sponge and anemone. The bark is gone, replaced by mineral crusts, but the shapes are unmistakable roots rings, the curve of growth. You've found a sunken forest, an ancient woodland that once stood proudly above sea level before time, and tide reclaimed it. Some of these forests date back tens of thousands of years, drowned when glaciers melted and seas rose after the last ice age. Others are younger swamps swallowed by storms or earthquakes. Now they rest in perfect silence, preserved by the cold and the dark. You glide between them, slowly, careful not to disturb the silt. The stillness feels almost sacred. Fish drift where birds once perched. Tiny shrimp crawl across old knots. You reach out and touch one trunk. It feels like stone, but it's wood fossilized through centuries of minerals. A piece of Earth's memory. Scientists have found similar forests off the coasts of Alabama, Japan, and even the North Sea remnants of lost landscapes. Once deer and trees stood where now sharks and rays swim. It's humbling to think that beneath modern coastlines lie entire forgotten worlds buried by rising seas. A soft current moves through the skeletal branches, carrying flakes of silt like ash. You imagine what it must have looked like before. Sunlight filtering through leaves, insects buzzing, roots anchored in mud. Then one day the sea came. Slowly at first, then faster, until the horizon swallowed everything. You drift past a fallen trunk, its surface riddled with tiny holes. Inside, a small octopus peeks out, blinking with curiosity. It's made a den from the past, turning history into shelter. There's a quiet poetry in that, how life always finds comfort in what came before. Farther ahead, a massive root system forms a hollow arch. You swim through it gently, the way you'd walk beneath an ancient doorway. The temperature drops another degree. The water carries a faint metallic tang like rain on stone. In some areas, methane bubbles rise from decomposing wood buried deep below. Scientists still argue whether this slow release contributes to the ocean's carbon cycle. One thing's certain, these forests continue to breathe even long after death. You notice faint glows along the trunks, clusters of glowing plankton feeding on microscopic life. They make the trees shimmer faintly, as though the forest has learned to photosynthesize again, this time through light borrowed from the sea. It's easy to imagine these ruins as a kind of underwater time capsule. Each trunk a library of years, each branch a frozen story. You picture creatures walking these grounds thousands of years ago. Mammoths, maybe, or early humans hunting along the shore. They never imagined that their footsteps would someday lie under miles of salt water. One fallen branch catches your eye. It's coated in a delicate lace of coral. Tiny polyps extend, waving slowly, their white bodies glistening against the black wood. Coral doesn't care that this was once land. To it, this is simply real estate. And yet for all this beauty, there's melancholy here too. You can feel it in the way the water moves, slow, deliberate, respectful. This isn't just a graveyard. It's a reminder that even the land itself can drown. Scientists exploring these forests often recover perfect wood samples, rings, intact bark preserved. Some even smell faintly of sap when exposed to air again after tens of thousands of years. It's as if time forgot to finish the job. You can almost hear the trees whispering. Maybe it's the current weaving through their hollow branches. Maybe it's just your imagination. But in their silence, you sense stories of rain, wind roots, and seasons. Things that once mattered and still do somewhere above. A deep rumble passes through the seafloor, a subtle low vibration that feels like memory itself. You look up. Sediment drifts down from above, thickening the water. The sea is reminding you nothing stays still forever. Even the past gets rearranged. You turn to leave, glancing back once more. The glowing plankton shimmer briefly like a final wave goodbye. The trees fade behind you, swallowed by the dark, leaving you with a feeling both heavy and comforting, proof that everything that once lived still lingers somehow. The current pulls you onward again. The temperature drops another few degrees. Ahead, the blackness deepens, and faint metallic shapes begin to emerge. They aren't trees this time. They're something else, something built by hands, not roots. You realize what's waiting for you next. Wrecks. Ruins of humanity's own making. And as you drift toward them, one thought echoes in your mind. Down here, the ocean keeps everything. The glimmer ahead grows sharper, until you can make out angular outlines, straight edges, curved hulls, and shadows of things once built, once proud. You've arrived among the silent wrecks. Ships, submarines, planes, all swallowed by time and pressure, rest here in perfect stillness. A rusting propeller looms from the darkness, its blades draped in coral and anemones. Fish dart through open hatches where sailors once stood watch. The wreck is both tomb and reef tragedy turned sanctuary. You drift along the deck, your light brushing faded letters. The name is gone, erased by salt and bacteria. Only fragments remain, bolts, portholes, cables looping like vines. In the silence, you can almost hear echoes of the crew boots, clanging voices, shouting the engine's heartbeat. But now only water fills those rooms, and the sound you hear is your own breath. Scientists estimate that more than 3 million shipwrecks lie across the ocean floor, from ancient wooden vessels to steel leviathans of modern war. Some are famous, like the Titanic or Bismarck, but most are nameless, forgotten by everyone except the sea. Each wreck is a museum that the ocean keeps locked until it feels generous. You shine your light into a cabin. Inside, everything is frozen in time, a table overturned, a cup fused with rust cables dangling like ivy. Sponges cling to the ceiling. A lionfish hovers nearby, its fins spreading like a crown. It doesn't care who built this place, it just rules it now. A quirky fact, many wrecks actually sing. The hulls flex under shifting pressure, emitting low metallic moans. Submersibles sometimes pick them up as ghostly hums, mistaken for whale songs. Scientists still argue over whether some deep-sea mystery sounds, recorded in the 1990s, came from tectonic activity or decaying wrecks flexing in currents. Either way, it adds to the mythology. The ocean loves a good ghost story. Further ahead, another wreck tilts on its side. The bow points upward as if trying to return to the surface. It's covered in a skin of life-feather stars, crabs, jellyfish pulsating like lanterns. Coral reefs often start this way, on skeletons of metal and loss. You pass over an airplane wreck, wings still intact. The fuselage gapes open, revealing seats half buried in sand. Schools of fish weave in and out through shattered windows. The cockpit glass is gone, replaced by delicate fans of coral. It's beautiful in a haunting way. Nature redecorating tragedy with patience and grace. You think about how every wreck carries two stories, one of human ambition and one of surrender. Up there, humans build. Down here, the ocean unbuilds, slowly, kindly, until everything becomes part of itself again. The light from your lamp catches on a brass compass, still faintly gleaming. You imagine the hands that once held it steering through storms. Now it points nowhere, free from the burden of direction. Researchers exploring wrecks often find clues about history, cargo from vanished empires, war relics, ancient amphorae full of olive oil. Off the coast of Egypt, divers found ships from 2,000 years ago, so well preserved that even ropes remained intact, shielded from oxygen by silt. The sea destroys selectively. Sometimes it hides, sometimes it keeps. A small current brushes past you and the sediment swirls. It's easy to lose your bearings here. Forward, backward, up, down, blur into one. Even your bubbles seem uncertain which way to go. You think about the people who built these vessels, who set sail believing they understood the sea. Maybe the sea was never something to conquer, only something to visit. You pause beside a torn metal plate, its edges curling inward like burnt paper. A small eel darts out, flicking its tail before vanishing into a pipe. Life doesn't just adapt here. It thrives on what we abandon. There's a philosophical comfort in that. Humans leave behind wrecks, mistakes, and forgotten ambitions, but nature always finds use for them. What we call decay, the ocean calls opportunity. You notice a line of glass bottles perfectly aligned on the seabed. Maybe a ship's galley storage, or maybe someone's last desperate act of order amid chaos. Each bottle now holds tiny ecosystems, shrimp, worms, even baby fish. Little glass apartments in an endless dark city. It's strange, every wreck feels personal, even if you don't know its story. Maybe it's because they remind you of fragility. A hull meant to resist pressure, undone by a storm. A machine meant to float, buried in silence. And yet beauty returns, always. Above you, a manta ray glides over the wreck like a guardian spirit. Its wings sweep the sand into elegant spirals. In one graceful movement, it erases your footprints. The message is clear down here, everything becomes equal again. You drift past the stern, the wreck receding into the black. Somewhere in the shadows, an anchor lies, half buried, its chain disappearing into silt. You imagine it still holding fast, refusing to let go even after centuries. There's a metaphor in that, though you can't quite decide if it's about strength or stubbornness. The ocean doesn't offer closure, it offers continuation. These wrecks aren't graves, they're gardens. And as you move on, you can almost hear the soft hum of the world rebuilding itself, molecule by molecule, turning loss into life. Above, the dark begins to shimmer again, tiny lights soft and strange. Not the glow of metal this time, but something organic, something very much alive. You've left behind human ghosts and entered a kingdom stranger still. The darkness ahead isn't empty. It twitches, flickers, reshapes itself like a living thought. You've entered the realm of the deep-sea oddballs where evolution seems to have gone slightly mad, but somehow still kept a sense of humor. The first thing that greets you is a pair of teeth. They appear out of nowhere, glowing faintly blue in your light. The teeth belong to a fangtooth, a fish so absurdly named, because, well, it deserves it. Its teeth are so long that when it closes its mouth, special pouches in the roof of its jaw hold them in place like a biological scabbard. It's small, barely the size of your hand, but looks like it chews thunder for breakfast. It drifts closer, decides you're too big to bother with, and vanishes. That's the theme down here. Blink and the monsters disappear. You move on and spot something even stranger, transparent like a ghost with gills. The barrelay fish. Its head is literally see-through. You can see its brain, its eyes, even the greenish lenses that swivel upward to stare through its own skull. Those eyes are fixed on the faint silhouettes above, waiting for prey to cross its glowing trap. Scientists once thought its eyes pointed forward, but new footage proved they rotate 90 degrees. It's basically a living periscope. Nearby, a gulper eel stretches lazily through the dark. Its jaw unhinges like an elastic bag ballooning to swallow prey larger than itself. When it opens, the light from your lamp glints off its stomach lining, translucent, empty, ready. It looks like a living question mark, and scientists still debate how often it actually uses that colossal mouth. Some think it's more bluff than bite, a kind of underwater theater. Then there's the anglerfish queen of strangeness. She glides into view, all teeth and attitude, carrying a glowing lure above her head. Inside that lure live symbiotic bacteria that produce light on command. She twitches it gently, a hypnotic signal in the black, and a smaller fish swims closer, too curious for its own good. One flash of jaws, and the light blinks out. Show's over. The real oddity, though, isn't her hunting style, it's her love life. When a male finds a female, he bites her side and never lets go. Over time, his body fuses into hers, his organs dissolve, and he becomes a permanent appendage whose only purpose is to provide sperm on demand. Scientists still argue whether this counts as romance or horror, but in the abyss, efficiency beats sentiment every time. A few meters away, a viperfish hangs motionless, its body glittering with photophores. Its mouth is so large that its lower jaw can't close properly, leaving the teeth perpetually exposed like a nightmarish grin. Yet it's delicate, almost graceful, suspended between danger and beauty. You drift slowly through this bizarre carnival, every creature defying logic. There's the tripod fish, which stands on 3 elongated fins like a deep-sea heron waiting for food to drift by. The sea pig, a pink blob that looks like a walking stress ball, calmly vacuuming detritus from the floor. The gulper shark, whose elastic skin makes it look permanently surprised. Each one could star in its own nature documentary titled, "What Even Is That Guy?" Scientists have cataloged thousands of these misfits, yet every new expedition finds more. Some defy classification entirely. A recent submersible captured a creature that resembled a transparent balloon pulsing with rainbow light. Researchers still don't know if it was an animal, a colony, or a trick of pressure. The deep loves its mysteries unsolved. You pause near a small glowing orb. It's a ping-pong tree sponge, translucent and delicate, growing like crystal snowflakes across the seabed. It's carnivorous, each branch lined with microscopic hooks that trap passing shrimp. Imagine a snowflake with a taste for blood. Even your nightmares couldn't design something that polite yet lethal. There's humor in this too. Nature doesn't build monsters for fright, it builds survivors. The anglerfish's lantern, the viperfish's glow, the barrelie's glass skull. All are just clever ways of saying adapt or vanish. You realize that weird is just another word for working. Somewhere in the dark, you catch a faint vibration, a slow pulse, rhythmic, almost like drumming. It could be a fish's swim bladder resonating or a distant volcanic tremor. No one's sure. Scientists still record unexplained sounds in the deep, nickname things like the bloop or Julia. Some turn out to be ice quakes, others remain mysteries. The ocean hums with unanswerable questions. You float through clouds of tiny plankton, each glowing for a heartbeat before fading again. It feels like drifting through a galaxy of living stars. You could almost forget that you're underwater at all. A thought flickers through your mind. How many more creatures live here unseen, too fragile for light or pressure change? Every dive uncovers new life. And yet what we know might still be less than 1% of what exists. The ocean is not empty space. It's a hidden archive. Your movement startles a dragonfish nearby. It opens its mouth, revealing teeth so thin they're transparent. A faint red beam flashes from beneath its eye. Remember how most deep-sea creatures can't see red the dragonfish can. It's the only predator with its own private wavelength, a flashlight no one else can detect. The ultimate stealth mode. It glides away, leaving a trail of fading glow. You realize something down here. Beauty and terror are the same thing. Everything that frightens you also fascinates you. You turn off your light for a moment, and the ocean answers with its own. 1,000 tiny sparks bloom around you, living stars winking in and out of existence. It's silent fireworks in eternal darkness. And in that stillness, surrounded by creatures that look like imagination run wild, you find peace. The oddballs don't apologize for their strangeness. They wear it proudly. Maybe that's the lesson the deep is trying to teach you tonight. Sound replaces light as your guide. You're deeper now, beyond the reach of sight, where pressure squeezes the world into silence. Yet even here the ocean hums. The soundscape of the deep sea is never empty. At first you hear nothing, just the steady rhythm of your own breathing. Then slowly the background emerges, low clicks, distant rumbles, and a faint hiss that could be ancient sand shifting. This is how the ocean speaks. Every vibration, every tremor, every faint thump of pressure tells a story. The most famous voice down here belongs to the whales. Their songs stretch for miles low and mournful, resonating through salt and darkness. A blue whale's call can reach 180 decibels louder than a rocket launch and still sound like a whisper underwater. You can feel it through your bones before your ears can name it. Scientists say some whales use these calls to navigate across entire oceans, bouncing sound off seamounts and ridges like echolocation on a planetary scale. But they're not the only singers. The ocean is full of chatter. Shrimp snap their claws so fast they create bubbles that collapse with tiny sonic booms. Together, thousands of shrimp colonies produce a constant crackling sound like rain on tin roofs. Submariners call it the shrimp orchestra. You drift past a hydrophone moored in the abyss, a lonely metal ear listening to everything. These devices have been recording ocean sounds for decades. They've captured whale conversations, volcanic eruptions, iceberg collisions, and something else stranger. In 1997, one hydrophone recorded a sound so loud it was picked up over 3,000 miles away. Scientists named it the bloop. For years, conspiracy theories bloomed: a giant sea creature, maybe even Cthulhu, stirring from sleep. But later studies pointed to something less monstrous: icebergs fracturing in the Antarctic, their cracks echoing through the deep. Still, even knowing that the mystery refuses to die. The name bloop sticks because it feels like the ocean's way of reminding us how little we know. Another unexplained sound followed the upsweep, a recurring tone recorded each spring and fall since 1991. Scientists still argue about it. Could be volcanic vents, could be whales, could be both. Down here, truth and theory mix like warm and cold currents. You can't always tell where one ends. You move deeper into the sound. A long, low groan trembles through the water. It might be a tectonic plate shifting or an underwater landslide rumbling in the distance. Earthquakes here don't roar. They sing their vibrations, muffled by the sea into slow, mournful notes. Then something else joins the symphony. A clicking pattern, sharp, deliberate, almost rhythmic. It's the sonar of a sperm whale. Each click carries thousands of joules of energy, powerful enough to map the world in echo. Some divers swear they can feel the sound rather than hear it, like invisible fingers tapping their chest. You wonder if the whale senses you too, a temporary visitor eavesdropping in its home. You pause and let your mind drift with the rhythm. The deep sea is an orchestra without conductor, every instrument playing in its own time. Water carries sound 4 times faster than air, so every ripple, every pulse overlaps. You realize that silence here is an illusion. Even when you hear nothing, the sea is humming softly like a body breathing in its sleep. A faint metallic ping catches your attention, probably a distant research sub using sonar to map terrain. The sound bounces off the seafloor echoes, once then fades. You think about how dependent humans are on this invisible sense. Without sonar, submarines would be blind. Without acoustic signals, oceanographers would have no idea where they are. Light dies in 100 meters. Sound travels forever. And yet, for all its utility, sound is fragile here. Global shipping noise has begun to infiltrate even the deepest trenches, low-frequency drone from propellers and engines that never stop. Whales once able to communicate across entire oceans now lose their messages to the static. Some scientists call it acoustic smog. The ocean's heartbeat drowned out by human hum. You listen more carefully. Somewhere above, a faint melody of dolphin clicks, overlaps with a distant groan. Then, as if on cue, silence returns. But it's not empty. It's full of potential waiting for the next vibration. It's strange how the absence of sight sharpens the rest of your senses. You start to feel sound instead of hearing it, the soft pulse of currents, the brush of microbubbles, the long-distance sigh of a seamount shifting. You imagine how creatures here perceive the world. Many deep-sea fish have special lateral lines, tiny pressure-sensitive organs that let them sense vibrations. They can detect prey predators and even currents from meters away. It's like living inside a living drum tuned to every note of survival. You realize that in a way, the deep sea doesn't just contain sound, it is sound. Pressure waves, rhythmic tides, tectonic murmurs, all part of one endless score. You let yourself drift, eyes closed, just listening. You can almost separate the layers now, the bass of distant whales, the mid-tone crackle of shrimp, the high treble hiss of sand shifting in microcurrents. It's oddly musical, calming even. If space is the final frontier, then this orchestra of darkness is Earth's hidden heartbeat. You think of how humans chase silence to find peace. But here, surrounded by quiet noise, you feel something better, belonging. For a brief moment, you imagine your own voice joining in, a bubble escaping your lips, a tiny pop in the vast symphony. The sea accepts it, folds it into the rhythm, and moves on. The song continues long after you stop listening. And that's the beauty of it. Down here, life never stops humming. You drift deeper still into a world that has never seen daylight, not once, not ever. The water grows heavier, thicker, yet strangely peaceful. Here at last is life in total darkness. No glimmers from above, no faint twilight from the surface, just pure, unbroken black. And yet this blackness isn't empty. It's alive, bursting with chemistry instead of sunlight. You pass a cluster of small white clams half buried in soft sediment. At first glance, they look like fossils, but they're very much alive, feeding not on light-borne plankton, but on gases seeping from the crust: methane, hydrogen, sulfide, ammonia. Their bodies are packed with symbiotic bacteria that turn toxic fumes into nourishment. Where you'd expect death, there's a buffet. Nearby, ghostly shrimp crawl across a mound that seems to shimmer faintly. You realize it's coated in a thin layer of bacteria like snow. Each patch gleams under your light, turning the seafloor into a strange, glowing field. This is chemosynthesis at work again, the same miracle you saw at the vents, but stretched across the plains like an invisible forest. Scientists still debate how these bacteria evolved. Did they start as surface microbes that fell, adapting to the abyss, or did they originate here in darkness when Earth was young? The answer might reveal how life could exist on other worlds' oceans beneath Europa's ice, or Enceladus's frozen crust. Down here, you're standing in the blueprint for alien biology. A small snail creeps past its shell, black and metallic, glinting with iron sulfide. It's called the scaly-foot gastropod, and it's the only animal on Earth that literally wears armor made of metal. Its shell resists heat pressure, even predators. Some engineers have studied it to design better spacecraft coatings. Imagine the future of space travel inspired by a deep-sea snail. You move slower now, watching how everything in this realm has found its niche. Worms dance through chemical streams, crustaceans hover like tiny submarines, and microbial mats ripple in faint currents. There's no waste here. Every molecule is used, recycled, reimagined. It's humbling to think that all this life thrives without sunlight. Everything humans know depends on that golden disk in the sky. Yet, here life proves it doesn't need warmth or even color to flourish. The ocean laughs softly in chemistry. A fringe theory whispers through your mind. What if life began in places like this, not in shallow lagoons under sunlight, but in eternal night, where minerals, heat, and water met in delicate balance? The first spark might not have been light at all, but a chemical sigh in the dark. You hover above a ridge where black smoke once rose, but has long cooled. The vent is dead now, but not barren. Colonies of pale sponges cling to its sides, feeding on drifting debris. Even death is fertile here. The ocean wastes nothing. You think about time. The deep doesn't measure it in days or seasons, but in currents, layers, and geological breaths. Up there, time rushes like a storm. Down here, it glides steady, ancient, patient. A flicker catches your eye. Not bioluminescence this time, but something faintly mechanical, a thin cable half buried in sediment. A reminder that even here humans leave traces, maybe from an old probe or sensor long forgotten. The sea has already begun to claim it, wrapping it in coral and dust. In 1,000 years, it will be unrecognizable, another mystery for future explorers to misinterpret. You drift past a crater rim where shimmering layers of methane rise like inverted waterfalls. They distort the light, bending it into ghostly halos. Beneath them, life gathers worms, crabs, snails, each adapted to breathe poison. Scientists call these cold seeps, but the irony is that they're anything but lifeless. They're warm with metabolism and colorless beauty. Somewhere nearby, an eel emerges from the silt, its skin milky white eyes reduced to pale orbs. Sight is useless here. It hunts by vibration, tasting motion through the water. You wonder what it perceives when it senses you. Something living or just another echo in the dark. It slips away, vanishing into invisibility again. You pause for a moment, imagining what this ecosystem would look like if you could see it all at once. Billions of microscopic lives flickering like slow stars, linked by invisible threads of chemistry. Every breath, every pulse, perfectly balanced. The silence feels thick, but not empty. There's a gentle hum here, a vibration you can't quite name. Maybe it's your own heartbeat syncing with the rhythm of the abyss. Maybe it's the planet itself whispering that life doesn't end where light does. You think about the phrase, the darkness of the deep. It sounds lonely, but it isn't. Here, darkness is not the absence of life. It's the canvas for it. For a moment you let go. You turn off your light and float in complete blackness. The temperature settles around you like velvet. You can't see your hands. You can't see the seafloor. You just are. And in that perfect nothingness, you understand something simple but profound. Life doesn't always need to be seen to be real. It just needs to persist. You switch your light back on. Ahead, something gleams, shimmering reflections across the seafloor. It looks like a lake. But that's impossible, isn't it? Curiosity nudges you forward. The dark has more secrets yet. The shimmer you saw ahead wasn't a hallucination. It really is a lake. An underwater lake resting inside the sea itself. You hover above it in disbelief, watching waves ripple across a mirror that lies beneath you. It's a paradox made real water inside water. This is a brine pool, one of the strangest features on Earth. The liquid below isn't fresh seawater. It's a dense mix of salt and minerals so concentrated that it refuses to mix with the ocean above. The result is a shimmering boundary that looks like mercury under your light. If you reached out, your hand would pass through it like oil thick and slick. A small ROV once tried to dive into one of these lakes and promptly sank its controls, jammed its electronics, corroded instantly. That's how salty and toxic these pools are. They're filled with hydrogen sulfide and methane, lethal to most life. Yet right along the edges, life thrives. You drift closer, careful not to disturb the delicate border. Around the rim, colonies of mussels and tube worms cluster like towns along a dangerous coastline. Their symbiotic bacteria process the methane seeping out, creating a thin strip of habitability. Beyond that rim, instant death. The dense brine is so heavy that even fish die if they stray too far in. Their bodies float, eerily preserved by the salt like offerings in a black mirror. Scientists call this the edge of habitability, and it's as literal as it gets. It's the ocean's version of a cliff one step too far and you vanish. Yet even here, microbes thrive, living off the chemistry of decay. You lean closer to watch the surface. Small ripples roll across it as if wind is blowing from nowhere. In reality, it's caused by density waves, slow-motion tremors created when the heavy brine shifts beneath the lighter water. It looks like breath. You realize the sea is exhaling. If you turn off your light, the pool glows faintly. Some of these brine lakes emit soft, bioluminescent flickers caused by bacterial reactions in the chemical soup. It's unsettling and beautiful at once, a toxic light show in total darkness. The largest known brine pool, nicknamed Jackin's Pit, lies in the Gulf of Mexico. It's about 100 feet across, surrounded by a ridge of salt and sulfur. Divers who visited it describe it as standing before another planet, one you could fall into, but never return from. The surface quivers like glass, and the reflection of your light bends and warps like a fever dream. You remember reading that similar lakes might exist on other worlds. Jupiter's moon, Europa, Saturn's Enceladus, both may hold briny oceans under their ice. If life exists there, it might look exactly like what you're seeing now, tiny microbes feeding on chemical gradients, thriving in places that defy sunlight and oxygen. The deep sea, it turns out, isn't just an alien world. It's a rehearsal for the universe. You notice a small amphipod, pale and translucent, paddling carefully near the rim. It pauses at the edge, almost testing the air, or water rather, and then swims back. Even the simplest life knows where not to go. A strange peace settles over you. The surface of the pool reflects your light like a perfect mirror. For a moment, it feels as though you're hovering above the sky, instead of below it, watching stars drift across a black horizon. It's easy to forget which way is up. Scientists still debate how these pools form. Some believe they're remnants of ancient seabeds sealed by tectonic movement. Others think they're born from superheated salt dissolving upward from deep within the crust. Either way, they're pockets of timelessness, unchanged for millennia. You take one last look into the mirror. Your reflection wavers, distorted by the ripples. It's strange seeing yourself down here, surrounded by death, and yet feeling utterly calm. Then from the far side of the pool, something shifts, a faint bubble, a shimmer of movement. Methane rising perhaps, or something else entirely. You'll never know. The pool keeps its secrets. You rise slightly, letting the current carry you above it. The shimmering border fades below until it's just another patch of darkness. Ahead, the seafloor begins to slope downward again, descending into a place even fewer have seen. The trenches are waiting, the deepest scars on Earth's skin, where pressure crushes steel and time seems to stop. You take one last glance back at the lake that shouldn't exist, then tilt forward, descending once more into the heart of the abyss. The descent steepens. The water feels thicker now, each meter pressing harder on your body, as though the planet is slowly folding you into its memory. You've reached the entrance to the trenches, the deepest valleys on Earth, where pressure crushes everything that doesn't belong. The Mariana Trench yawns below nearly 7 miles deep, deeper than Mount Everest is tall. You can't see the bottom, only darkness that swallows light whole. Every additional meter adds another atmosphere of pressure. By the time you reach the bottom, each square inch of your body will bear over 16,000 pounds of force. If you were in an unprotected submarine, it would crumple like an empty soda can. And yet, here you are, drifting through it perfectly safe in this quiet thought. The walls of the trench rise on both sides, like cliffs carved by gods. Their surfaces are jagged, streaked with pale sediment and minerals leaking from deep below. Every once in a while, a stone tumbles down, falling endlessly, stirring clouds of silt that glow faintly in your light. You can almost hear the planet exhale. You pass 8,000 meters. The world here is a place of extremes, cold, near freezing darkness, total pressure, unimaginable. But even now, life persists. A tiny amphipod drifts by, barely an inch long, but perfectly at ease. Its body is transparent, its movements calm, as if it doesn't even notice the pressure that would crush steel. Scientists have found enzymes inside these creatures that prevent their cell membranes from collapsing, keeping their chemistry balanced in ways we barely understand. Then you spot something stranger, a small snail-like fish hovering near the wall. Its body is pale pink, gelatinous, fragile-looking. This is the Mariana snailfish, the deepest living fish ever recorded, found at nearly 8,200 meters below the surface. Its body isn't armored, but soft and flexible, designed to yield rather than resist. That's how it survives, by surrendering. Scientists were stunned when they first filmed one. They expected thick, muscular creatures, not something that looked like a floating petal. But the snailfish defied expectation. Down here, fragility isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You watch as the fish glides effortlessly through water dense enough to crush submarines. It doesn't fight. It simply exists. Further down, the temperature drops even more. Tiny flakes drift around you, marine snow still falling after weeks of descent from the surface. Down here, those flakes are gold. Each one feeds bacteria, which feed worms, which feed crustaceans. Even in this pit of eternal night, the food chain persists, a delicate economy built on the generosity of gravity. Scientists still debate how life reached this deep. Some argue it evolved here independently, adapting to pressure gradually. Others believe the creatures migrated downward generation by generation until evolution found a way. Either way, it's proof that life's stubbornness knows no limits. A sudden rumble echoes through the trench. The sound is deep, almost seismic. You turn toward it, but there's only darkness. The trench is alive beneath the crust, tectonic plates, grinding, shaping, birthing mountains below the sea. You're floating over the Pacific Plate, diving beneath the Philippine Plate, a geological ballet that's been dancing for millions of years. It's strange to think that this place, the deepest part of the planet, is also one of its youngest. The seafloor here renews itself every few 100 million years, while continents above crumble and age. The bottom of the ocean is the Earth's eternal restart button. You drift along a small ridge, your light illuminating a field of pale tube-like creatures. They look like worms at first, but each one ends in a tiny translucent head. Bacteria live inside them, converting the faint trickles of methane into energy. They wave gently in the current, swaying like grass on a midnight hill. Nearby, you spot something glittering, a patch of metallic crystals formed from pressure and heat. They catch your light like tiny mirrors. For a moment, it feels like stars under your feet, constellations made of minerals instead of fire. You think of how explorers once dreamed of reaching this depth. When Jacques Picard and Don Walsh descended here in 1960 aboard the Trieste, they heard the hull groaning under the weight of the water. They stayed just 20 minutes at the bottom before ascending. When they returned, the world celebrated, but the ocean remained unimpressed. It's always been here waiting. Years later, filmmaker James Cameron made the dive alone, reaching 10,908 meters. His report, desolate, lunar, yet alive. He wasn't wrong. You can almost feel the echo of that description now. A shrimp passes by glowing faintly blue, its body dotted with enzymes that produce light only under stress. It seems calm now, content to glide through the trench's still air, if you can call this heavy liquid air. Scientists continue to send probes down here, autonomous drones with lights, cameras, sensors. But the footage always feels dreamlike. Nothing moves fast, nothing hurries. Even time itself seems reluctant to intrude. You hover for a moment at the very edge of the Challenger Deep, the trench's lowest point. If you could dig another few meters, you'd reach the planet's core. The pressure here is over 1,000 times what you feel at the surface, yet the water remains fluid, obedient to gravity. And yet, if you strain your eyes, you'll see a tiny amphipod gliding calmly across a rock as if unaware of where it lives. That's the beauty of the deep. It doesn't dramatize itself. It just continues. You realize something profound. Even at the lowest point on Earth, you're still surrounded by life. The ocean refuses to let emptiness win. Above you, thousands of meters higher, the surface feels like another planet. But you don't miss it. The stillness here is addictive, a kind of silence so complete it hums. Slowly you begin to rise again, carried upward by invisible currents. The trench fades beneath you, swallowed by its own gravity. Ahead, faint lights flicker once more, volcanic plumes, strange domes of gas, and maybe, if you're lucky, something that looks suspiciously like another world altogether. The darkness begins to shift again, no longer endless, but textured. The seafloor beneath you ripples like dunes, and soft plumes of gas drift from cracks in the crust. You've entered the domain of alien worlds beneath us, where the ocean floor remakes itself daily, and the line between Earth and elsewhere blurs entirely. Before you, a dome of rock pulses faintly red. It's a submarine volcano, one of thousands hidden across the planet's seabed. Each one breathes heat and minerals into the deep, shaping entire ecosystems with every eruption. Here, mountains grow in silence, unseen by sunlight, fueled by the same molten heart that built continents above. You move closer. The ground trembles softly under your feet. Bubbles rise in long chains, shimmering silver against the dark. These are methane and carbon dioxide escaping from the crust, ingredients for both destruction and life. In some places, fire meets water, creating glassy lava pillows that harden the instant they touch the sea. The sight is otherworldly black rock glowing from within, veins of orange light, flickering like embers trapped under ice. Scientists call this process seafloor spreading, and it's the planet's most active construction site. Every second, new crust forms along mid-ocean ridges, while old crust sinks back into the mantle elsewhere. The planet is recycling itself continuously, quietly, beautifully. As you glide above one of these volcanic ridges, something unexpected happens. The sensors in your imagination pick up a faint electric hum. Not sound, but energy. Hydrothermal fluids rushing through cracks carry electric currents strong enough to power microbial life. Entire colonies of bacteria use these currents like power grids, converting minerals into energy. If there were ever a place on Earth that felt like another planet, this is it. Scientists studying these vents often say they resemble landscapes on Enceladus Europa or even ancient Mars. The similarities are uncanny liquid water chemical energy, complete darkness. It's not far-fetched to think the same reactions that sustain life here could light a spark elsewhere. You pass over a small field of shimmering bubbles. They cluster popriform, each one carrying methane from deep within the Earth. Around them, translucent mats of bacteria spread across the sediment like living silk. These microbes are called methanotrophs. They literally eat methane, preventing it from escaping into the atmosphere. Without them, Earth's climate might have spun wildly out of control long ago. You pause, realizing that even in the deepest trench in the hottest vent, the planet maintains its own checks and balances. Life isn't just surviving, it's regulating. Every glowing worm, every drifting shrimp plays a role in keeping the world steady. In the distance, you see another formation, tall, jagged spires rising like a submerged cathedral. These are carbonate chimneys, part the lost city hydrothermal field. They're taller than houses and older than most civilizations, formed by water rich in calcium reacting with seawater. The result, white towers that glow pale blue under your light, like frozen lightning bolts piercing the sea. You float between them carefully. The water here feels charged alive. Streams of hydrogen seep upward, feeding colonies of archaea microbes so ancient they predate plants, animals, even bacteria. To these organisms, oxygen is irrelevant. They breathe minerals, eat stone, and thrive in chemical chaos. Scientists studying them call them living fossils. Some even suspect these archaea might represent the earliest branch of life on Earth and the first whispers of biology in a still-forming world. And here, they remain billions of years later, still alive, still quietly rewriting the rules. A slow realization dawns on you: the deep isn't hostile to life. It's its original home. Everything above every tree and bird and human is just an offshoot of this patient underworld. We're all surface wanderers from a planet that began in the dark. As you drift upward slightly, a faint green shimmer catches your eye, a methane seep glowing faintly from bioluminescent bacteria. The light pulses irregularly like a heartbeat. Each flash represents a chemical reaction, carbon meeting oxygen energy born from decay. Even in decomposition, there's beauty. You think of the paradox, how something so alien could feel so familiar. Maybe that's because at our core, we're built from the same chemistry. Every cell in your body runs on a spark that began here in the deep's ancient crucible. A small robotic drone drifts by its lights, blinking methodically. It's mapping the seabed, sending sonar pulses upward. For a moment, you're aware that you're part of a long human lineage of curiosity divers, explorers, scientists, all trying to understand what the planet has been quietly doing since before our ancestors stood upright. The drone fades into the distance. The silence returns. You can still feel the faint pulse of the volcano beneath you, like the heartbeat of the Earth itself. Scientists still debate how many of these undersea volcanoes exist. Some estimates suggest over 1 million, with more erupting each year than all land volcanoes combined. Most go unnoticed, their eruptions muffled by pressure and distance. Yet without them, Earth would stop renewing its crust. The deep keeps the world alive in ways we barely notice. You imagine the surface right now, cities, glowing waves, crashing people sleeping. None of them know that miles beneath their feet, the planet is still breathing fire. You linger one last time among the white chimneys. The water feels warm here, humming with quiet energy. Tiny bubbles rise through your fingers, shimmering gold in your light. For a fleeting moment, it feels like touching the beginning of everything, the moment creation met patience and called it life. The current begins to pull again, drawing you onward. Ahead, the light fades, but not into darkness this time, into motion. The sea itself is moving. Invisible rivers are flowing, carrying you toward the unseen highways that connect all oceans together. The next stage of your journey isn't about places, it's about movement. The sea is about to show you how it travels, breathes, and remembers. You're rising slowly now, carried by unseen hands, the great invisible rivers of the deep. These are the currents, the ocean's arteries. They don't flow like surface tides or crashing waves. They glide vast and deliberate, sculpting the planet's weather and feeding its life in silence. You can't see them, but you can feel them. A faint push to the left, then the right, a temperature shift, a whisper of motion. This is the thermohaline circulation, the global conveyor belt of water. Cold, salty water sinks at the poles and creeps along the seafloor for centuries before rising again somewhere warm thousands of miles away. It's an eternal loop, a heartbeat that takes 1,000 years to complete one pulse. You picture it in your mind, one massive current spiraling through every ocean, linking the Arctic to the Antarctic, the Atlantic to the Pacific. If you could map it, it would look like the bloodstream of the Earth itself, slow, constant, vital. You drift within it, like a speck of dust in a colossal vein. Around you, particles of sediment swirl lazily, bits of volcanic ash, plankton shells, the powdered remains of ancient creatures. Each particle is history floating through time. These deep currents aren't empty highways. They carry life, to larvae of fish and crustaceans, hitch rides traveling across oceans before ever seeing sunlight. Some never make it to the surface, living entire lives as passengers on these dark streams. Scientists still debate how many species depend on this hidden transport system. But one thing is certain, without it, Earth's oceans would suffocate. A faint shimmer drifts past, a jellyfish nearly transparent, pulsing in rhythm with the flow. It doesn't resist. It surrenders, letting the current decide where it belongs. Down here, resistance is a luxury. Harmony is survival. A soft rhythmic hum echoes nearby. It's not an engine. It's the sound of countless krill moving as one, their tiny bodies vibrating the water in unison. To predators above, these swarms look like drifting clouds, but up close, they're an orchestra of motion. Their journey through the currents feeds everything from whales to seabirds. Even the mightiest life depends on the smallest drifters. You think of all the things these currents have carried over millennia: volcanic ash from eruptions, pollen from long-dead forests, whispers of ice age meltwater. Even traces of human presence, plastic fibers, microbeads, chemical ghosts of civilization. The sea remembers everything. It just moves it around. A haunting image forms in your mind, a single plastic bottle caught in the current, spinning slowly through darkness for 100 years, traveling farther than most people ever will. The ocean doesn't judge it, just carries. Scientists still argue about how global warming might alter these deep currents. A few degrees of temperature change could slow or even stall them. Without circulation, heat would pool unevenly across the planet, and the deep would grow stagnant. The ocean's great lungs would stop breathing. You feel a pang of gratitude for this silent machinery. It doesn't ask for praise, it just keeps moving unseen and unthanked, keeping the planet alive. You imagine what it would be like to follow one current completely, from the freezing north through the Atlantic, down past Africa under the Indian Ocean, and across the Pacific before rising back near Antarctica. That journey would outlast empires. It's a kind of immortality motion as memory. The current shifts slightly, pushing you upward. The pressure lightens. You begin to see faint motes of light above bioluminescent creatures, caught in the same highway, blinking like passing headlights. Each flash is a signal, a small voice saying, "I'm here." Among them drifts a fragile shape, an amphipod, carrying what looks like a piece of shredded leaf. But it's not a leaf. It's a scrap of seagrass, probably from a distant shore. You realize this creature has carried a piece of sunlight into the dark, unknowingly bridging two worlds. That's what these currents do. They connect opposites. Warm and cold light and dark life and decay. They're the reason coral reefs exist, the reason plankton bloom, the reason hurricanes form and fade. You're floating through the ocean's memory, in motion. A faint metallic ping resonates again, distant sonar, perhaps from a research vessel miles above. The sound ripples through the water, echoes off unseen slopes, and vanishes. Even human exploration becomes part of this flow. You pass through a layer of water where the temperature suddenly rises by a few degrees, a thermocline. It feels like stepping through an invisible doorway. Creatures gather here in the boundary, exploiting the difference in warmth and density. Tiny squid flash, small fish dart. To them, this gradient is home. It strikes you that the deep is full of such invisible walls, barriers of temperature, salinity, and light, each one separating ecosystems like floors in a silent skyscraper. Life knows exactly where to stop, where to live, and where to let go. The current strengthens, carrying you toward the next horizon. You sense movement all around. Rivers within rivers looping endlessly. This isn't chaos, it's choreography. The sea doesn't wander, it remembers. You tilt your gaze upward where the first hints of blue return. The light is faint, but real. You've been traveling for what feels like forever, yet the ocean's journey never ends. Somewhere above continents, trade rain and wind, never realizing that their weather was born here, in these slow, patient movements of the abyss. As the current eases, you feel yourself leaving its grip, drifting into calmer water. Below it continues on unbothered, carrying its endless cargo of memory. For a moment, you imagine the ocean whispering, "Don't worry, I'll keep everything moving." And you believe it. The current fades and the sea grows colder again, colder than you've ever felt it. Not sharp or biting, but absolute, like touching the edge of time. You've arrived in the domain of the eternal cold, where the ocean keeps its oldest secrets. The thermometer would read just above freezing, about 1.5 C. But it never changes. Year after year, century after century, this deep water stays the same. It's the planet's memory chamber, unspoiled and still. Scientists call it the abyssal water mass, formed when surface currents sink at the poles and drift slowly along the seafloor for thousands of years. A drop of water leaving the North Atlantic today might not see daylight again until the year 4000. You drift through it feeling the quiet weight of patience. Nothing rushes here. Even sound moves more slowly, dampened by the cold. Each motion, your breath, your heartbeat, feels too loud too fast. So you slow down too. All around you are creatures made of transparency and calm. A sea cucumber glides across the silt, its gelatinous body undulating like slow breath. Nearby, a white sea spider moves on spindly legs, delicate as frost. Its heart beats once every 10 minutes. You almost envy its rhythm. The deeper you go, the more you realize how this cold isn't death, it's preservation. Things decay so slowly here that even ancient ship timbers and whale bones remain for centuries. Down here, rot takes its time. In a way, the abyss is Earth's freezer, storing fragments of the past in its cold embrace. A curious fact, scientists once retrieved bacteria from deep-sea sediment that had lain dormant for 100 million years. When warmed, they came back to life-stretching, dividing, continuing, as if they'd merely paused. It's proof that the line between living and waiting is thinner than we think. You hover for a while, watching frozen drifts of detritus fall like snow. The flakes are tiny, harmless, almost beautiful. They carry the remains of plankton blooms, volcanic ash, maybe even microscopic traces of your skin cells, fibers, dust, washed from the continents above. Everything ends up here eventually. The deep is the planet's final collector. Scientists still debate how much carbon lies trapped in this abyssal sediment. Some say it's the largest carbon reservoir on Earth, quietly regulating climate. Every flake of marine snow locks away a little more carbon, keeping the world's air breathable. The abyss may be silent, but it saves us every day. A low groan ripples through the water. Maybe it's a tectonic movement far away, or the slow settling of sediment. Whatever it is, it vibrates through your ribs like a lullaby. You think about how few things on Earth have changed since the first oceans formed. Gravity, darkness, pressure, cold, all eternal. Humanity is the new thing here. The deep is original. You notice small, luminous creatures flickering in the black, like distant stars, copepods, worms, tiny jellies. They drift slowly, each one glowing briefly before fading again. Their light is weak, but constant. It feels like hope stretched thin, but unbroken. The cold here isn't cruel, it's honest. It doesn't destroy, it preserves. The world above burns, freezes storms, and changes, but this realm remains steady, unhurried. It's what eternity might look like if it learned compassion. You think about how easy it is to call this place lifeless when you can't see movement. But everything is moving just too slowly for impatient eyes. The sea cucumber's crawl takes hours, the snow's descent takes days. Down here, time is liquid. A strange comfort settles in your chest. Maybe that's why this cold feels peaceful, not because it numbs, but because it equalizes. No creature here dominates another. No one competes. They coexist quietly without drama or noise. You wonder what the surface would be like if it learned that lesson. A faint light appears above, a reminder that you're not trapped here forever. The current begins to nudge you upward again, gentle but insistent. The abyss has shared its calm with you, and now it's time to return to warmth. As you rise, the temperature edges higher by fractions of a degree. It feels like waking from a long sleep. The darkness remains thick, but it's softer now, tinted with the faintest suggestion of blue. You look down one last time. The cold below doesn't seem lonely anymore. It's serene, a place where nothing is wasted and nothing is truly gone. If eternity had a temperature, it would be this. You take a deep breath, and the ascent continues. Above, faint glimmers beckon you home. You're not done yet. The surface waits with its own kind of mystery. You rise slowly, the darkness around you softening like twilight after an endless night. Each meter upward feels lighter, warmer, almost forgiving. The water no longer presses it, releases. For the first time in what feels like forever, you sense gravity again, the faint pull of the surface calling you home. Your journey through the deep has been long across glowing twilight zones, plains of silence, forests lost to time, wrecks reclaimed by coral, and trenches older than history. And yet the ocean has held you gently through it all, whispering truths that land can't teach. Now as you ascend, those whispers follow. The first to greet you are the midwater wanderers, the soft-bodied drifters of the mesopelagic. They pulse around you like stars in slow motion. A comb jelly drifts past its cilia, shimmering in iridescent ribbons. A translucent squid spirals upward beside you, as if escorting you back to daylight. You realize how quiet the ascent feels. After the low groans and hums of the abyss, this silence feels like grace. No noise, no pressure, just the slow, steady heartbeat of water. Above, faint blue returns, faint but real. It seeps into the black like dawn under a door. You've missed color more than you knew. As the light grows, you start to see details again, the shimmer of scales, the silver of tiny fish, darting in quick, nervous bursts. They weren't absent before. They were just waiting for you to look in the right light. You pass a school of lanternfish beginning their nightly descent. They flash faintly as they dive like a trail of falling stars, heading where you just came from. The ocean never stops its motion. It's a constant exchange between above and below. At around 200 meters, you reach the twilight zone again. The water glows faintly with natural blue. It feels like stepping into memory, a familiar halfway world where sunlight fades but never truly dies. It's here you understand the ocean's rhythm best, the rise and fall, the give and take, the pulse that connects light and dark. You glance downward. The black void below has softened into a deep navy. You can't see the abyss anymore, but you can still feel it, calm, vast, waiting. It doesn't disappear. It simply recedes like a dream that chooses to stay close even after you wake. You remember the things you've seen, the colossal squid drifting like a ghost, the boiling vents breathing life, the ancient forests standing silently in their watery graves. They don't feel like separate discoveries anymore. They feel like one great truth. Life doesn't need comfort to exist. It just needs a reason. And that realization feels strangely human. The blue around you brightens. You can see beams of sunlight now piercing the water in shimmering pillars. Each one looks like a staircase made of light. You reach out to touch them, and they ripple around your fingers like silk. A few playful jellyfish rise with you, their bells catching the glow. The water temperature warms, gently degrees you can feel in your bones. Your breathing slows. It's not just the oxygen. It's the sense of return. You think of the surface so loud and bright compared to this serenity. But maybe that's the point. You can't stay here forever. The ocean offers peace, but not escape. It shows you balance, patience, silence, and then it lets you go. You pass through the final layer of light, the epipelagic zone where the sun once again owns the water. Shoals of fish glitter around you, moving like mirrors. The pressure lifts from your chest. The sky above shimmers through the water like a promise. And then, at last, you break the surface. For a moment, the brightness is blinding. The world explodes into sound waves, slapping wind, sighing a gull calling somewhere distant. You blink against the light, remembering what color really is. Blue sky, silver foam, gold sun. The air tastes strange, after so long in water dry, sharp, alive. You float there half in two worlds, feeling the ocean rock you gently. Below you lies silence, endless and eternal. Above you, motion and noise, fragile and temporary. Between them, you. You realize something simple but comforting, and the mystery of the deep isn't meant to be solved. It's meant to be felt. You can study it, measure it, even map it, but you can't own it. The deep belongs to itself. And somehow knowing that makes the world feel steadier. You close your eyes listening. The ocean still hums beneath you, a deep, steady tone that never stops. Maybe it's not sound at all. Maybe it's memory. And as you drift there, warmed by sunlight and held by salt water, you think if there's such a thing as peace, it sounds like this. You're not diving this time. You're floating just above the surface, watching the horizon roll like a breathing chest. The journey downward is complete, but the deep still calls to you in another way. Tonight, you turn your gaze sideways, tracing the shores of the unseen where ocean meets land in ways you rarely imagine. A thin silver line shimmers across the horizon, the boundary between two worlds that continuously trade everything: air, water, salt, and life. You drift along a continental shelf, that hidden slope connecting the shallow seas to the abyss below. Most people think the ocean starts at the beach. But in truth, the real drop-off lies miles offshore where the seafloor plunges like a forgotten cliff. You glide across it, now hovering above coral outcrops and valleys carved by ancient rivers. Each ridge tells a story of a time when this was dry land forests, plains, and deltas buried under centuries of rising tides. You can almost see them if you squint: mammoths grazing rivers sparkling under ancient skies long before the sea came to claim them. Then the shelf's edge appears. It falls away sharply, a vast underwater canyon, plunging thousands of meters into darkness. These are submarine canyons carved not by wind or rain, but by underwater avalanches, turbidity currents that race downslope at 50 miles per hour, carrying mud, sand, and boulders the size of houses. They're the ocean's invisible rivers, constantly reshaping the seafloor. Scientists have traced some of these canyons all the way to the abyssal plains, discovering networks more complex than the Amazon or the Nile. The Mississippi Canyon alone stretches hundreds of miles across the Gulf, a hidden highway for sediment and life alike. You descend slightly into one. The walls glow faintly from plankton caught in slow eddies, each spark a tiny lantern lighting your path. Within these canyons, creatures gather to feed: sharks, squid rays, even whales that dive down to hunt and rise again before running out of air. The canyon amplifies sound like a cathedral. Every distant call echoes twice, thrice, fading into the blue. You pause, listening. The calls of sperm whales drift through the slow clicking pulses bouncing between the walls. Somewhere nearby, one surfaces for air, perhaps, with scars on its flanks from a giant squid it wrestled miles below. The deep and the surface are not separate realms. They're one continuous heartbeat, rising and falling together. Then you notice something else. Along the canyon's base, faint lines shimmer, tracks etched by ancient landslides and currents. Scientists studying them realize that each scar tells the story of climate. When glaciers melted faster, the canyons deepened. When they froze again, the flow slowed. The sea floor, it turns out, keeps better records than stone. Farther along the shelf, new shapes rise: domes and ridges, unlike anything natural. They're pockmarks formed by methane erupting from the seafloor, each one the size of a house. The gas seeps upward in slow plumes, feeding fields of bacterial mats. Some of these sites bubble so steadily that ships detect them as false shoals, phantom signals that vanish when you approach. And just beyond those bubbles, something even stranger, the carbonate mounds. Massive towers built not by volcanoes, but by microbes stacking minerals grain by grain for thousands of years. They're the coral reefs of the cold thriving without sunlight. You glide among them, tracing their smooth, chalk-white flanks. Small crustaceans scuttle along the surfaces. Brittle stars cling to ridges like ornaments. Everything here is patient. Everything takes its time. Scientists still argue whether these mounds represent growth or decay. Are they signs of life expanding or remnants of past eruptions now silent? The ocean, as always, answers both. Growth and ruin, creation and collapse. They happen together endlessly. You continue along the canyon wall until the slope flattens again. The temperature warms slightly, the light brightens. Schools of tuna dart past metallic flashes cutting through the blue. They're migrants of the mid-sea traveling thousands of miles following invisible highways of temperature and current. You remember how deep sea creatures depend on chemical energy, but here near the shallows, sunlight rules again. Phytoplankton bloom in dense green clouds, turning sunlight into life with every pulse. This thin zone, barely a few hundred meters thick, produces most of the oxygen on Earth. Every breath you take, every forest that grows, every flame that burns, owes something to this microscopic miracle. You pause suspended between two worlds, the silent trenches below and the stormy surface above. The deep taught you patience. The surface reminds you of motion. Together, they explain balance. You look toward the coast, though it's far beyond sight. You imagine tides rising and falling, pulling against the moon's invisible tug. The same rhythm that moves continents sways your own heartbeat now. And suddenly you understand what the ocean really is, not just water, but time itself, fluid, restless, eternal. It erases, rebuilds, and remembers. It connects continents, generations, and worlds. You float still, letting the current carry you toward one last mystery. Somewhere ahead beyond the continental edge lies the final frontier, the ocean's past written not in fossils or coral, but in sound itself. You've drifted for what feels like days, maybe weeks, following the quiet rhythm of tides. The surface above glimmers faintly, but now your focus turns inward. You've explored the deep, the currents, the trenches, but one mystery remains the ocean's memory. Every wave that crashes, every current that rolls leaves a trace, a vibration, a shift, a chemical fingerprint. The sea remembers in layers. You can read them like pages in a book if you know where to look. You find yourself hovering over a deep sediment core site, where scientists once drilled into the ocean floor to pull up long cylindrical samples of mud. Each layer inside those cores tells a story of time, volcanic ash marking eruptions, pollen grains recording forests, long vanished tiny plankton shells revealing ancient climates. The deeper you go, the older the story. Some cores reach back 100 million years. The ocean remembers more than any archive built by man. You reach down and imagine brushing your hand across that layered history. The mud feels cold and fine, but if you could translate its chemistry into sound, it would hum like a chord played over epic, slow, deep, patient. Every note a memory. Nearby, an abandoned research probe rests on its side, half buried in silt. Its antenna leans like a wilted flower. Once it sent data to ships above, now crabs nest inside it. Technology and biology both reclaimed by time. The deep doesn't discard it, assimilates. You swim past following a faint glimmer. Ahead you see something that looks like falling rain, but upside down. Streams of bubbles rise from the seafloor, shimmering silver. These are methane plumes, venting from sediments rich in ancient decay. Each bubble carries carbon from the past into the present, linking eras with every burst. Scientists call it the ocean's breath. You think of how humans measure time in years, decades, lifetimes. The ocean counts differently in currents, in cycles, in breaths like these. It doesn't rush to forget. A faint current shifts, stirring a cloud of plankton into motion. They glow softly as they move, tiny lanterns illuminating a forgotten ruin below a volcanic ridge overgrown with coral and sponge. The ridge hums faintly with magnetic charge, a remnant of the planet's iron core, aligning long before humans mapped poles or compasses. Even the rocks down here carry direction, holding the memory of the Earth's spin. You glide closer. The coral is pale but alive, stretching its arms toward a light that never reaches it. It feeds on particles, not photons. A school of glass eels coils around it, transparent and delicate. For a moment, the scene feels suspended in time, like a painting that paints itself endlessly using color borrowed from silence. You realize that everything you've seen, the vents, the plains, the trenches, even the cold, shares one constant transformation. Nothing in the ocean ever dies completely. It becomes something else. Flesh turns to mineral bones, to shelter movement, to current heat, to life. Even sound fades, not into silence, but into rhythm. Scientists once lowered microphones into the Pacific and found that low-frequency sounds from ancient eruptions were still echoing faintly through deep channels decades later. The ocean doesn't erase, it elongates. Every vibration becomes part of a vast, ongoing resonance. You close your eyes and listen. The hum is everywhere now, a steady low tone, not mechanical, but organic. Maybe it's the sound of circulation. Maybe it's the vibration of countless lives drifting together. Or maybe it's just the planet thinking to itself. Up above, light filters down again, stronger this time, golden through turquoise. You've drifted far enough toward the shallows that colors return one by one, green, red, gold, and finally the silver glint of the sun. You break the surface, but you don't rush. You just hover there, half in the water, half in the air. The wind touches your face. The salt dries on your skin. The ocean stretches endlessly ahead, calm and vast. You realize that your descent wasn't just exploration, it was communion. The deep didn't teach through words, it taught through patience. It showed you that mystery isn't a void to be filled, it's a companion to be trusted. You smile, closing your eyes. The waves cradle you gently. Beneath the planet hums its endless song of pressure and warmth, of memory and motion, of light and dark. And though you've surfaced again, a part of you stays below forever. Where silence lives, where life begins, and where time itself learns to rest. The waves flatten slowly around you, stretching into a soft mirror. The air cools, the sun dips toward the horizon. Everything slows, the light, your breath, even the sea's pulse. The noise of the surface fades, until there's only the gentle hush of water moving against itself. You lie back, weightless, feeling your heartbeat sink with the rhythm below. Each beat seems to echo down into the depths you just left. For a moment, it feels as though the entire ocean is breathing with you, in out, an infinite lullaby. The sky turns lavender, then deep blue. Stars begin to appear one by one, reflected perfectly in the water's calm skin. You remember how similar the deep looked another sky below. Perhaps there's no up or down at all, only layers of quiet stacked through eternity. You let the thought drift away. The air is cool against your face, the water warm beneath your back. You are suspended between two worlds, light and dark sound, and silence waking and sleep. The last thing you hear is the soft swish of waves, steady and slow, like the planet's heartbeat continuing without you. And with that, you let go, floating, breathing, sinking gently into rest. Sweet dreams.